Hello everybody, E here. Welcome back to another Stephen King Theorist review. Today we are talking about the fourth story in Night Shift, I Am the Doorway. This one, once again, I'm not going to be actually talking about the story itself, only the connections. If you want, you can go over to the short tab on my channel and you can watch the review on the shorts. I'm doing the reviews there and I'm doing the long form theorist videos here. Got it? Okay. Alright, so I Am the Doorway is about it's one of King's wilder stories. It's about a man who has looked into the abyss and the abyss has looked back into him. The story has made for one of the most iconic covers. I'll try to remember to add it right here. It's also a slight spoiler for the story, but yeah, anyone who remembers that cover probably picked the book up if you saw it on the bookshelf. Now, I have, first and foremost, I have the obvious thing out of the way. How does I Am the Doorway connect to the Stephen King universe overall and the Dark Tower series? Well, I think right off the bat that it's obviously about a thinny, right? About a portal between worlds. So things that are coming over. This one, I believe, ties in really, really hard to gray matter and to things like Dreamcatcher and the Tommyknockers. Why do I say that? Here's why. This is a direct quote from the book. "It was a feeling like no other in the world, as if I were a portal just slightly ajar, through which they were peeking at a world which they hated and feared." Also, Under the Dome, the end of Under the Dome, all that stuff. But the worst part was that I could see two in a way. Imagine your mind transported into the body of a housefly. A housefly looking into your own face with 1,000 eyes. Then perhaps you can begin to see why I kept my hands bandaged, even when there was no one around to see them. Now, I highlighted this for two reasons. First off, thinnies, okay, things traveling over from the Prim or the Long Dark, things traveling over from that world to our world. But also because it is very reminiscent of the drug smuggling scene in The Drawing of the Three. How Roland enters Eddie and sees through his eyes. By the way, these are spoiler videos. All of these are spoiler videos. I'm sorry if you done got spoiled, but why are you out here looking up Stephen King stuff if you ain't read all his stuff? Don't get spoiled if you don't want to be spoiled, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, telepathic aliens. Well, once again, King has this obsession not only with telepathy and mind powers, but aliens that do that. It's probably because a lot of alien literature and research on the subject says that aliens would have advanced beyond spoken language and can use their, the whole brain, whatnot, if they're able to like fly across, galaxies and universes and all that stuff. Then obviously they have to be telepathic, because if they unlock faster than light travel, FTL, then yeah, FTL. Sorry, if they unlock that, then of course they got to be telepathic. But also, I mean, there's a connection here. These are obviously the same aliens from Dreamcatcher, from Under the Dome, from Tommyknockers. So all that connected. Whether you want to call it a theory or a fact, I'll leave that one up to you. But once again, this is Thursday Theorist. This is the Stephen King Theorist, not, what is it? Not the reality not remarkable reality. Anyways, their flesh was embedded in my own. Dreamcatchers, shit weasels, how they use humans as vessels. Same with the Tommyknockers. Now, the Tommyknockers don't do this, don't do it exactly like the aliens in Dreamcatchers. So I think that those aliens are not quite the same. I do think, however, that Pennywise is more akin to the aliens in Dreamcatcher than he is the ones in Tommyknockers. But I think they're all kind of like the same species, just like different evolutions of the same species. Does that make sense? I hope so. All right, on page 73, I have the connection to the Prim. in the wastelands, book 3 of the Dark Tower. And this is the quote I found on page 73 of the first edition hardcover. That is, "My own eyes seemed to close, and I saw only with those alien eyes. Saw a monstrous alabaster seascape overtopped with a sky like a great purple way. Saw a leaning, eroded shack that might have been the carcass of some unknown eroded shack that might have been the carcass of some unknown flesh-devouring creature. Saw an abominated creature that moved and respired and carried a device of wood and wire under its arm, a device constructed of geometrically impossible right angles." So you have impossible technology, like the bear in the wastelands. But also, I want to show you something. I'll be right back. Do you remember what I was talking about in the Graveyard Shift Theorist video? This is what I'm talking about. Look at this. This is almost exactly what he is describing in Graveyard Shift. Almost exactly. Less rat, but down here you can see this bulbous creature. You got the tail, you got the wings, you got all that stuff. There is one more, I believe. Let me try and find it. If not, I will cut this section out. This Joker is not... Here we go. Here we go. There they are again. These monsters, these creatures from the Prim, from the outer band, from the Prim, from the long dark, all of this stuff. Basically what I'm saying is I've been right this entire time. Pennywise, the aliens, all that stuff. Also, these are just theories. When I say I'm right, it's like it's possibility, okay? Because King has not verified any of this. It's just, it's been going for so long, ever since his first short story collection, all the way up until Fairy Tale. Of course, Holly is connected too because of the Outsider books. But anyways, what I'm getting at is this stuff. If nothing for no other reason, this stuff is connected because it's all Stephen King's imagination. And then he wrote himself into the Dark Tower, which I think, and this is going to tie into my King Sorrow Theorist video, I believe that Midworld, and we know this already, Midworld is story. Midworld is the celebration of story, all stories ever written, mashed up. It's especially important in Book 4 when you see the Wizard of Oz, the Emerald City. It's really important when you get to the end of Wolves of the Kala and they're fighting Dr. Dooms with the Harry Potter wands. That kind of stuff. Obviously, but it's more than that too. It is the imagination of the creator. That's what we all have, our own Midworld. And that's why the entire story starts over at the end of the 7th book, The Dark Tower. Because it's all in our own imagination. And the things that are outside of our imagination, the Prim or the Long Dark, all of that stuff, that's where the monsters lie. That's where our uncertainties lie. That's where our subconscious, our dreams, our nightmares, that's where those things lie. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I'll let you guys tell me. I'll let you guys discuss it down there in the doobly-doo. But I'm excited for this series, man. I'm having a lot of fun, especially because I am enjoying these stories more, going back to them after having read all of Stephen King's books and short stories at least 3 times each. I know it's a chore, but if I'm gonna be called the Stephen King scholar or the Stephen King theorist, man, I'm gonna earn that fucking title. Until next time, I have been E, you have been you. This has been another Stephen King Theorist review. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.